At some point in every system, something changes. Up until this stage, humanity exists within structure, observes through light, and experiences reality under limitation. Humans live inside the system, but do not yet challenge it. Then something enters the equation that alters everything. Knowledge. Not basic awareness, not observation, but something deeper, something that allows humans to act on what they understand. Across cultures, this moment is never portrayed as neutral. It is always presented as dangerous. In Greek mythology, Prometheus steals fire from the gods and gives it to humanity. Fire in this context is not just a tool for warmth or survival. It represents technology, intelligence, and the ability to transform the environment. It is the power to create, to build, and to reshape reality itself. For this act, Prometheus is punished, chained, and condemned, a clear indication that this transfer of power was not meant to occur freely. In the biblical narrative, the serpent offers knowledge to Adam and Eve, specifically the knowledge of good and evil. This is not simply moral awareness. It is the recognition of duality, the ability to distinguish, judge, and interpret. Once this knowledge is accepted, innocence is lost. Humanity is no longer unaware. They see themselves, their condition, and their separation from the system that once contained them. In Mesopotamian traditions, figures such as Enki are often associated with the transmission of knowledge to humanity, knowledge that blurs the boundary between human limitation and divine understanding. In some interpretations, this knowledge is not openly given, but mediated, restricted, or selectively revealed. Despite the differences in narrative, the pattern remains consistent. Knowledge is introduced from outside the human condition. It is not naturally possessed, it is acquired. And once acquired, it changes everything. Knowledge represents advancement. It represents awareness beyond simple observation. It represents disobedience, not necessarily in a moral sense, but in a structural one. Because to gain knowledge is to move beyond passive existence. Before this moment, humans live within the system as it is given. After this moment, they begin to interpret, question, and ultimately challenge it. This is why knowledge is so often framed as forbidden, not because it is inherently evil, but because it disrupts established order. Authority defines structure. Knowledge reveals its limitations. Time imposes boundaries. Knowledge seeks ways to move within or beyond them. Perception interprets reality. Knowledge refines and sometimes contradicts those interpretations. This creates tension, because once knowledge is gained, ignorance is no longer possible. The system does not change, but the relationship to it does. Humans begin to recognize patterns not just in nature, but in structure itself. They begin to understand cause and effect, consequence and intention. They develop the ability to anticipate outcomes, to manipulate conditions, and to create new possibilities. This is the true meaning behind the symbolism of fire. Fire transforms. It consumes, reshapes, and creates. It turns raw material into something new. In the same way, knowledge allows humans to transform their environment, their systems, and even their own identity. But this transformation comes at a cost, because knowledge introduces responsibility. To know something is to become accountable for it. To understand a system is to recognize its constraints. To gain awareness is to lose the comfort of not knowing. This is why myths consistently link knowledge with consequence. It is not the acquisition itself that is punished, it is what follows. The shift from innocence to awareness, from participation to understanding, from acceptance to questioning. Knowledge marks the point where humans are no longer simply part of the system, they become active agents within it. They begin to make decisions not just based on instinct or structure, but on understanding. This is the turning point, because once humans act with knowledge, the system begins to respond. And that response leads directly into the next stage, consequence. Not as punishment, but as the natural outcome of awareness applied.